If Oliva were to fully unleash his muscles, just how terrifying would it be? For a long time, Oliva has been restraining his muscles, preventing them from expanding. But if he ever lets his guard down, his muscles would instantly swell, crushing every prisoner in sight, even destroying the entire prison before shooting straight into the sky. Just moments ago, Oliva landed a single punch on Kaibal, breaking his spirit entirely. From that moment on, no one dared to question the king of the prison. But the next day, when the guards conducted their rounds, they discovered that Kaibal had vanished without a trace. There were no witnesses, only a letter and a banknote from his homeland. It seemed he was planning to challenge Oliva once again. Meanwhile, on a remote island, a familiar figure was chopping down trees. It was none other than Kaibal himself. After leaving the prison, Kaibal had regained his former glory. Back at the prison, the guards continued their usual routine of lecturing the inmates. Having spent too much time locked up, Retsu decided to stir things up. He called over a guard and told him he wanted some fresh air. The guard was completely dumbfounded. But in the very next moment, Retsu knocked him out with a single kick. Then, with lightning speed, he took down the rest of the guards effortlessly. Seeing this, the prisoners began cheering for Retsu. If he couldn't pull off a miracle, the only way he'd be returning was as a corpse. The prison alarm blared instantly and all the guards prepared for battle. However, in Retsu's world, guns were the most useless weapons. With agile footwork, Retsu effortlessly dodged every obstacle in his way. Then, with a powerful kick, he shattered the main gate and teleported through the prison corridors. After swiftly taking down 3 guards, Retsu searched their bodies and found a key. Without hesitation, he sprinted toward the prison entrance, only to be met with a wall of gun barrels aimed directly at him. But Retsu remained completely unfazed, calmly walking toward the warden. Seeing this, the warden immediately ordered the guards to surround him. But in the very next second, his sunglasses suddenly shattered into pieces. The moment the warden got close, Retsu had already destroyed his glasses, and in the same motion, had effortlessly plucked the monocles off 6 guards. Guns were useless against him. In other words, he could attack any of them at will, whether with a bone-shattering kick, a throat-crushing strike, or a precise blow through the philtrum. No matter what, at least 2 of them wouldn't survive. Hearing Retsu's words, the warden broke into a cold sweat. But before he could react, Retsu made an even bolder demand. He wanted the warden to personally escort him out of prison. And just like that, Retsu successfully broke out, becoming the 3rd man in history who simply couldn't be contained. But just as he stepped outside, he suddenly raised both hands, asking the warden to arrest him again. The warden, more than happy to oblige, wasted no time in cuffing him. But at that very moment, the prison gates swung open, and Oliva rolled out on his limited edition Harley, ready for a casual ride. However, Retsu's actions had now openly provoked Oliva's rival. Oliva was instantly enraged and decided on the spot to teach this arrogant brat a lesson. But just as the guards were about to unlock Retsu's handcuffs, he calmly stated, "I'll do it myself." With a simple motion, he effortlessly broke free from his restraints and then turned toward Oliva, shouting loudly. Just one sentence was enough to make Oliva nearly explode with fury. But he managed to suppress his anger, at least on the surface. However, his fake smile was instantly seen through by Retsu, who wasted no time in mocking him further. "You know the truth yourself," Retsu said before walking away. Left standing like a statue, Oliva looked as if he had been doused with cold water. Seeing this, the guards attempted to leave under the excuse of moving a cart, but Oliva simply stated, "I'll do it myself." If someone poured urine over your head, what would you do? A moment ago, Retsu had been insulted, but now he suddenly burst into laughter. Just as he had said, the freest man on earth? What a self-deceiving fool. The sharp sound of laughter echoed through the entire prison. The only person who could make Oliva put aside his pride was his girlfriend, Maria. When it came to Maria's requests, Oliva always complied without question. In the face of true love, he would even deliberately lose at rock, paper, scissors just to make his adorable girlfriend happy. Oliva was undeniably a caring boyfriend. No matter how exhausting his life outside was, the moment he saw Maria sleeping peacefully, he felt that everything was worth it. But after hearing Retsu's mocking words, even the finest delicacies in front of Maria lost their appeal. Even the exquisite 1982 red wine tasted like plain water. Frustrated and unsure how to vent her emotions, she simply wanted to overturn everything in sight. Meanwhile, Retsu, despite only drinking water, was thoroughly enjoying himself. Before long, Oliva approached the prison warden with an idea. He wanted to broadcast a worldwide fight against Retsu, a battle that would not only make them a fortune but also prove his unrivaled strength. However, when Oliva returned to his room that night, he felt as deflated as a punctured balloon. Maria was once breathtakingly beautiful, a woman whose mere presence on the street would turn heads. But after falling ill and taking hormonal medication, she had transformed into someone resembling Oliva himself. Yet, despite losing her former beauty, she remained just as proud and unrestrained as before. And that was exactly what Oliva lacked. He cared too much about his reputation. Seeing through Oliva's inner struggles, Maria offered him comfort, helping him regain his composure. Soon after, Oliva once again went to find Retsu. But when Oliva announced that he would fight Retsu in a globally broadcasted duel 2 weeks later, Retsu simply laughed. He had no interest in scheduled fights. He preferred to battle seriously, anytime, anywhere. Before Oliva could react, Retsu delivered a brutal kick straight to his face. Without hesitation, Retsu followed up with 3 lightning-fast kicks to Oliva's weak spots. The sudden barrage reignited Oliva's fighting spirit. As Retsu launched another attack, Oliva responded with a powerful slap, sending him flying into the next room. His girlfriend, watching from the sidelines, was terrified, but this was only the beginning. Oliva raised both hands high, preparing to unleash his devastating no-guard punch. Seeing this, Retsu decided to remove all restrictions. He intentionally dislocated his shoulder, repositioning his arm to the front of his body. Then, using both arms, he tightly compressed his torso, cutting off blood circulation to his limbs, just like how athletes use pressure to stop bleeding from injuries. However, Retsu had an abnormally developed latissimus dorsi muscle, allowing him to achieve the same effect without needing any external pressure. As blood flow decreased, his fingers started to transform. Once the restriction was lifted, he flexed his joints, preparing for battle. Now, the real fight had finally begun. Retsu took the initiative, targeting Oliva's abdomen with a powerful punch, but Oliva effortlessly caught his fist. Taking advantage of Retsu's brief moment of shock, Oliva took a deep breath and with immense force, yanked Retsu through the wall from the other side. Grabbing Retsu by the ankle and wrist, he swung him around like a twisted towel before hurling him into the air. Finally, Oliva seized him mid-flight and smashed him through the walls of 3 prison cells. But Oliva wasn't finished yet. He grabbed Retsu's wrist and slammed him hard against the floor, then followed up with a devastating punch that sent Retsu flying, along with the entire prison door. Retsu crashed to the ground with a heavy impact. Seeing this, Oliva flipped over the railing and leaped down. As Retsu got back on his feet, he launched a kick at Oliva, but Oliva effortlessly caught his leg. In response, Retsu used his other foot to unleash a flurry of rapid strikes, but they were completely ineffective against Oliva's unbreakable defense. At this point, Oliva had grown tired of playing around. He decided to show Retsu the true meaning of strength. Grabbing him by the torso, Oliva slammed him forcefully into the ground. With just a single impact, the concrete floor shattered, leaving a massive crater. Lying on the ground, Retsu's vision began to blur. But at that very moment, his demon brain awakened. As Retsu's demon brain activated, so did his demon back. His speed now exceeded human reaction time, and in just 0.2 seconds, he struck Oliva before he could even launch an attack. Oliva instantly realized that dodging Retsu's attacks was impossible. But then again, Oliva never needed to dodge, because his greatest strength was his defense. Rolling his body into a compact sphere, Oliva created a defense with no weak spots. No matter how fast Retsu was, his speed was now useless against an impenetrable wall. Retsu attempted a jumping back kick, but to his surprise, the force of his own attack rebounded against him. Meanwhile, Oliva remained completely unaffected, his body not even flinching. Realizing his regular strikes were ineffective, Retsu decided to use the martial iron body technique. This technique manipulates the body's natural joints, turning them from shock absorbers into solid reinforcements, maximizing the force of an attack. If the body's buffering joints were hardened, the impact would be amplified to its full potential. Retsu delivered a powerful punch straight to Oliva's body, but once again, Oliva didn't even budge. Taking advantage of the moment, Oliva grabbed Retsu's arm. His body slowly began to unfold like a massive beast opening its jaws before swallowing Retsu into his muscle-bound trap. Completely engulfed, Retsu struggled as Oliva's enormous muscles squeezed around him, even pulling in his flailing arm. The sheer pressure threatened to crush him. After an immense effort, Retsu finally managed to break free, collapsing weakly onto the ground. At that moment, Oliva released his absolute defense. Staring down at the exhausted Retsu, Oliva declared the fight was over, but Retsu's response was chilling. "It's not over until one of us is dead." Oliva smirked, saying that if Retsu simply admitted defeat, he would spare his heart. Seeing that Retsu refused to give in, Oliva stomped down hard on him, then sent him flying into the air with a powerful kick. As soon as Retsu was airborne, Oliva moved in once more, attempting to engulf him in his massive muscles again. But this time, Retsu had already anticipated the move and prepared a counterattack. Without hesitation, Retsu shoved his fingers deep into Oliva's nostrils, a move so painful that just imagining it sent shivers down one's spine. In an instant, Oliva flung Retsu away, but thick, hot blood began streaming from his nose. That single move had truly enraged him. But instead of attacking, Retsu calmly declared that from now on, he wouldn't use any martial arts or underhanded tricks, just raw strength. Hearing this, Oliva smirked to himself. He couldn't believe that someone nearly 100 kilograms lighter than him actually thought they stood a chance in a pure brawl. Suddenly, a voice echoed through the arena. Tyson, standing nearby, shouted out, trying to stop Retsu. He warned Retsu that he was severely underestimating the difference in weight class. In a head-to-head slugfest, someone of Retsu's size had no advantage at all. Retsu slowly walked toward Oliva. At this point, no one and no rules could stop this battle. A true clash between men, a fight that would only end when one of them could no longer stand. Both fighters threw punches at each other's faces with such force that their bodies bent into a U-shape from the impact. Yet neither of them took a single step back. Their fists struck again, landing with bone-crushing power. This was no longer just a fight, it was a contest of sheer physical endurance. Even the vultures perched on the outer prison walls seemed to be waiting, anticipating a feast when one of them finally fell. Retsu didn't use any techniques, martial arts, or tricks. He only wanted to defeat this monstrous opponent, who outweighed him by over 100 kilograms, through pure strength alone. As their brutal exchange continued, the blood of the Hanma clan within Retsu began to awaken. Blow after blow landed, yet despite the relentless assault, it was Oliva who was being pushed back. Like an unstoppable beast that felt no pain, Retsu, with his smaller frame, was forcing America's strongest fighter to retreat step by step. At that moment, the fight had transcended mere combat. It had become something greater, something primal. Furious and unwilling to accept defeat, Oliva let out a final battle cry and launched his ultimate strike. But Retsu took the hit head-on, refusing to be knocked back. Instead, he countered with a devastating headbutt straight to Oliva's skull. At last, Retsu shattered Oliva's unbreakable defense, breaking through to the other side. In that instant, he realized, nothing and no one could ever stop him again. His path forward was clear, limitless, and entirely his own. But as he regained clarity, he realized that in reality, an insurmountable wall still stood before him, one he had yet to overcome. In the end, he was nothing more than a frog at the bottom of the well, only now seeing the truth for the first time.